Welcome into the High Noon broadcast stream, not a broadcast, I always make that mistake, of Pugs and Company, the first of two that we offer each and every day, but not today because it's Friday, although maybe today. I'm thinking about doing a pillow talk. That's the second stream that we do. We do a pillow talk version at 9 o'clock every night. Sunday evenings through Thursday. A little bit fun, a little bit loose, but not this. This is High Noon. This is Monday through Friday. We try to give you all the things that are trending, everything that people are talking about. Like I say, I like it to be a utilitarian tool for you so that people should come up to you and say, hey, did you hear about? You can say, yeah, I did, because I listen to Pugs and Company every day at high noon right here on the Radio Misfits podcast. And now, because of me, streaming network. All right, a little different thing we're going to do. Let me fix the chat. I'm sorry. Get you guys involved here. There we go. Make sure that's working, and we are good. Okay, so today's show, just me. Hey, you got me the whole time. He's got some daddy duty stuff he's doing. Hi, Leslie. Leslie's first in. Usually first in is Steve. Usually, I want to say, but today it's Leslie, so that's good to see her. Look, folks, you got me. Okay, so I'm doing this all by myself, so that means it's just pretty much going to be a 2-hour stream of consciousness rant on all the things that are trending, all the hot topics, everything that people are jittering about over there on the. But first, I got to tell you something, and you know this if you listen with any regularity. After the show, I like to go and hate watch myself. I will pull up the show that I've just done, and let's be honest, I don't get through the full 2 hours typically because I just have such a low tolerance for my own BS that I just can't take it. However, sometimes there are things that make me want to scream and go hide in my closet and lay in the fetal position in the dark for hours at a time. And one of those things happened last night. It happened last night. And why are you so sensitive, Pugs? Why don't you be more of a man? Because I'm flawed, and I understand I'm flawed, and I overcompensate by that, by being overly confident. And sometimes when that overconfidence falls down and crashes through the floor, so does my entire meaning. So last night we were talking about Aaron Andrews and how I got into like a fight with a bunch of blue checks on Twitter because I made some comment about Aaron Andrews, which was wonderful. I thought it was a fantastically flattering, but you can't say anything. There was nothing that you can say on social media that there won't be 50,000 people that are just going to take the opposite approach to it and call you a Nazi or a misogynist or whatever. And I let that get to me. Because here's the thing about me. All of this uber confidence that you people know, all of this, hey, I'm right, this is my opinion. It's all a sham. I am cursed with being overly confident in my opinions and wildly insecure. So, yeah, that's what happened. So last night I'm talking about Aaron Andrews. And James, who joins us, James Parker, who you can listen to on USA Radio Networks every afternoon. Don't know where you can find that. He refuses to tell me, but apparently you can listen here in town somewhere. It's in Dallas. James started rattling off other female sideline reporters who he thought were good. And he mentioned Jen Hale, who I agreed with. And then I said, I think the second best, remember, this is something I experienced while hate watching myself. And I said last night, I go, oh, well, I think the second best one is Michelle Tirico. There's no such person as Michelle Tirico. It's Michelle Tafoya. And I knew it the minute I heard myself say my big, dumb, fat, stupid face. As soon as I saw it coming out of my mouth, I'm like, you're so stupid. Actually, I didn't say that, but my inner monologue, the guy who freaking hates me, started screaming, you're so stupid. You're just worthless. Look at you. You suck. It's Mike Tirico, you big dummy. Mike Tirico is a guy, and he's very good at his job. The person you're talking about is Michelle Tafoya. You're trying to compliment her on her wonderful sideline work, and you don't even know what the hell her name is. So I apologize for that. That was last night's ego crash while hate watching myself. but we'll overcome that. And we'll get into a lot of stuff today. I'm feeling salty today. Can you tell? I'm a little bit salty. There's a lot of things going on that a lot of things go. Kim Potter, I'm watching her right now. Kim Potter's on the stand. She's the Minnesota policewoman who killed Dante Wright. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to get into it. We got into it a little bit last night, but it's trending, and that's what we do here. If something's trending, we have to touch on it. So, well, let's get started with the way we start each and every show, and we tell you why today is, today. Well, what's so cool about today? Well, December 17th is today. It is the 351st day of the year, 2021, year of our Lord. There are how many days left? What do we got? What do we count? 14 days remain until the end of the year. So what, like a week until Christmas then? It's I don't know. I've stopped counting. I know I promised you all through November I was giving you it's probably 30 days. I was giving you that whole thing. I wasn't sure. And then the 12 days of Christmas started, and that was easy. And then I lost interest in that. And now I have no idea. Is it a week from today? Is it tomorrow? I don't know. You should know. Why are you tuning into me? By the way, I might do a Christmas show, and I know full well that there's gonna be nobody, but I might do a special little Christmas show. I'll stream it live. It'll be posted up to wherever you get this stuff, wherever you get this. Pugs, just tell them pugscast.com. It's a direct link to the YouTube page. You can find all the shows there. And I don't know. I might do something on Christmas. I might do something on Christmas Eve. Like I said, I'm going to be all by myself here at the One Percenter compound. Woe is me. Nobody cares, Pugs. That's why you're all by yourself, because nobody cares. Actually, it's a choice. I'm just playing this up for effect because I like the sympathy. I get mad at my son when he milks stuff. He gets it straight from me. I like to milk it. I choose to be alone. I am choosing to have a nice, quiet couple of days where it's just me and the dog, me and the beast dog. We're going to be running the One Percenter compound here in beautiful Highland Park, Texas. Just him and me, and I don't know, probably some TV dinners or something. It'll be fine. It'll be exactly what I want. He tried to say convincingly. Let's see. What about today? What happened today? In 1903. Oh, look at this. This is a cool thing. One of the most, until July 20th, 1969, when man landed on the moon, which also happens to be my birthday, this was probably the most significant achievement man had ever had. And 1903 today, the Wright brothers made the first controlled powered heavier-than-air flight in the Wright Flyer at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. And yeah, so that's cool. That's good. Also on this day in 1933, the first NFL championship game is played in Wrigley Field in Chicago between the New York Giants and your Chicago Bears. Guess who won? Bear down, bitches. That's who won, 23-21. The first NFL championship game was played today in Wrigley Field in 1933. Another really cool thing about today, especially if you're an old man like me, it was on this day in 1989 that possibly one of the greatest television shows of all time premiered. The Simpsons. Today in 1989, The Simpsons premiered on Fox TV. I remember The Simpsons started out when Fox first started as a network. You kids out there, you probably don't remember this, but for a long time, there were only 3 networks. There was ABC, NBC, and CBS, and maybe you had a couple local stations that you could get on the UHF or whatever. In Chicago, we had a fourth, WGN, which was all local, but still the national networks are only 3 networks: ABC, NBC, and CBS. And we liked it. We were fine with that. We didn't need your Netflix and your Hulu and your Disney Plus and your Apple. We had 3 networks. Better than one. Better than no TV. Our grandparents had no TV. So yeah, we were happy with 3. But then Fox got into the game. ooh, we're going to be a new network. And I remember, man, I was 1989. What was I? I was 20 years old. And I was already like this, working, not yet working in media, but in school to work in media. So I'm like, ooh, it's going to be a new network. How is that going to work? How are the American public going to choose between 4 options? It's not going to work. I don't think this is going to work. That's what the experts were saying. They were saying there is too much TV as it is. There are 3 channels. And remember, back in my day, most TV channels signed off at like 1:00 in the morning. They would play the national anthem, and they'd show like a flag waving, and Pug, you don't even know the national anthem. No, I got tripped up because I was doing it fast. But anyway, it would end. And the home of brave. Right? Yeah. You're not even American. I am. I was born here. Okay, so it would stop. The national anthem would stop, and then a flag would wave for a couple of seconds on your TV screen, and then it would go. Boo! That'd be like a tone. And a lot of times, if you fell asleep while watching TV, you'd wake up in the middle of the night with this boo, and you'd have to turn your TV off. So look, we had 3 channels. They only ran like for, I don't know, 20 hours of the day. It wasn't even all the time. And then Fox got in. Fox was like, we're going to do something different. It'll never work. That's too much choice for the American people. They don't like their... Here we are. What? I don't know. Do the math, Pugs. 89, 99, 2009, 42, almost 43 years later. Yeah, math, it's not my thing. And we've got thousands of channels and we want more. And there are more coming every day. So it was funny to me when I was thinking back about the birth of the Fox network, how people were, no way will that work. That's too many choices. And the original Fox lineup was kind of garbage. It was like really stupid stuff. And The Simpsons, which debuted on this day in 1989, it started out as just a little commercial, a little clip of this weird family that was shown during the Tracy Ullman show. Tracy Ullman had a show. And Tracy Ullman was, the critics loved it. And it was that funny. But I was intrigued by this thing, these weird yellow people who this cartoon. And then the next year in 1989, it became its own show. And oh my God, did it take the world by storm. I had the Bart Simpson Eat My Shorts t-shirt. I loved Bart Simpson. Boy, did he take the world by storm. And here we are 40 something years later. And the Simpsons are still going strong. Actually, I don't know. Are they still going strong? I haven't. If I'm being honest, I haven't watched a new Simpsons episode in 10 years, but I'm glad they're still there. If I wanted to see a Simpsons episode, I'm glad they're still there. But I don't know what's going on. Does Bart have a mustache yet? Is he married? Because he should be almost 50, right? Bart is... I don't know. Let's see here. Also on this day, birthdays. We got some big birthdays. Pope Francis, the cool Pope. Whatever. I mean, that's sort of a low bar, right? Pope Francis was born on this day in 1936. Definitely a cool guy. Excuse me. Born on this day in 1946. One of when I put who are the funniest character actors of all time list together, this guy is definitely in my top 10. I love everything that he has done since the mid 70s when I was a little kid. And I first saw him as a character named Bobby Bittman on the old SCTV. He has now reached a new height of celebrity and fame and admiration with Schitt's Creek, which was his show. It's Eugene Levy's birthday. His son, Dan Levy, is like taking Hollywood by storm, but Yeah, I'm more about Eugene. Yeah, he also had a nice little bump in his career back in the early 2000s with the American Pie series. He played the dad in the American Pie series. But man, if you ever have a liking to do it, go to YouTube and just look at some Eugene Levy SCTV stuff. That guy was brilliant. He was just, when Eugene Levy was 28, 29, 30 years old, he was funny as they come. That guy was just Earl Cannonbear. SCTV, man. Eugene Levy is where he popped. That's a show too that almost nobody saw. I always like to say that shows that just launched had mega talent and nobody watched. I always refer to Freaks and Geeks, which was a show that aired for one season, but it just produced Seth Rogen, James Franco, who's that Seagal guy? Jason Seagal. A lot of people saw him. Judd Apatow, he came out of that. A lot of just a farm of super talent that would go on to just take Hollywood by storm. But SCTV, man, SCTV. Whether you're talking about John Candy, Catherine O'Hara, Martin Short, Rick Moranis. I mean, that was Harold Ramis. I mean, that show, a show nobody watched, a show that was buried after Saturday Night Live, a Canadian version of Saturday Night Live, except everything was pre-taped. It wasn't live. Buried after Saturday Night Live on Saturday nights. And then just before you remember the national anthem, da-na-na-na, and then they'd sign off. That show was buried just before that, and nobody watched it. And it was just filled with superstars. Today, superstars. I mean, does anybody deny that Catherine O'Hara is a North American treasure? And I have to say that because she's from Canada. Albert loved SCTV. Yeah, man, that show was great. Hi, Frank. Michael Almanza. He says, Pugs Christmas extravaganza. Yeah, maybe. I'm thinking, why not? Jeff Glenn says he found James Parker's 12/8/21 show on YouTube. His LinkedIn says he's on weekdays 2 to 5 on US Radio Network. I'm hunting for it, but here's the link to that show in the meantime. Yeah. If you want to listen to Jeff, for some reason he doesn't want to promote it, but whatever. Hey, this is Jeff Glenn's doing. I didn't give any information. It was Jeff Glenn. He did it. All right, Eugene Levy, not born in 1946 today. Also born in 1946, Paul Rogers of one of the, oh boy. Again, if I'm going to make my list of the greatest voices in rock and roll, Paul Rogers. Oh, boom, 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 bad company. He is awesome. Paul Rogers had a chance to interview him. We only got like 10 minutes to talk to him. And he came and he sat down. This was one of those Grammy gangbangs. He came and he sat down, and at the time he was touring with Queen. He had taken over for his friend Freddie Mercury, and he was touring with Queen at that time. This was before they had that Adam guy, the American. I don't know what that guy's name. Adam Engel. No, he's a White Sox player. Whatever. Adam Levine. No, that's Maroon 5. Adam somebody took over, but because Paul Rogers didn't really want it, he was like, I don't want to do this, man. I'm an old man. He came and he sat down with us for 10 minutes, and he was getting ready to leave. And Pat Monahan, who was semi-regular on our show, Pat Monahan, the lead singer of Train. What's a Train song? That Soul Sister song, I guess, would be their like really big one. And it was the song that they had out at the time. So Pat Monahan was like at the height of his Train being a viable band era. But I like Drops of Jupiter. Guess who lives in the atmosphere with drops of Jupiter in it? Hey, that's a good song. That's a pretty song. Sounds like Counting Crows should have wrote it, but it's a good song. And Paul Rogers is sitting there talking with us, and he's getting ready to leave. And Pat Monahan comes running over and pulls up a chair and sits down and says, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have never met you, Mr. Rogers. And I just wanted to tell you that you are my favorite singer of all time. And my partner, Kelly, and I were like wrapping up the interview, and we're like, okay, this is kind of interesting. We've got one modern rock star cruising all over this legendary Rock and Roll Hall of Fame rock star. And let's just see where this goes. So Kelly and I just sat back and we let Pat Monahan interview Paul Rogers, and not even interview, because he wasn't interviewing. He was just fanboying with him. And it was so great. It was like one of the great memories of doing those old Live 105.3 shows was when that happened. And I don't know if you enjoyed it to listen to, but if you're a music fan, you did, because they got into some real heavy stuff. And it went on for like 45 minutes. It was great. I loved it. Great memory. Also born on this day in 1974, Sarah Paulson. Sarah Paulson, who, if you're a fan of the American Horror Story series, she's in all of those. She does pretty much anything that Ryan Murphy makes. Ryan Murphy, who is one of the most prolific television creators of the last 20 years. Everything from Nip Tuck to the most recent Impeachment, American Crime Story. Ryan Murphy is just prolific as they come, and she's sort of his muse. She's born on this day in 1974. All right, let's see what today is the national day of. Before we get into all the trending topics, because like I tell you, I'm ginned up, people. I am ready to go. I got opinions, and I'm going to share them. Let's see. Today is Wright Brothers Day. We covered that, the Kitty Hawk thing. It's National Underdog Day. I don't know what that means. You root for the underdog? I always root for the underdog. Who the hell wants the favorite to win, right? I don't know. Is that anti-American? What are you, a communist? Nah, I just like to see people who try really hard and aren't expected to win come through and shock the world. National Underdog Day. It's also National Ugly Christmas Sweater Day. You know, I love sweaters. I'm a sweater guy. As a heavyset man, sweaters are something that I lean heavy into starting in early fall. Not anymore, though. Not here in North Texas. It's 80 degrees today. Let's see what it is today. I'm telling you, this is stupid. This weather here is stupid. Let's give it a look. We are doing the show from North Texas. North Texas, the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. 75 degrees. 75 degrees and partly cloudy. Ugh. So I guess a white Christmas is out of the question. Although who knows? Ugly sweater Christmas Day. It's like, okay, you know what? Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to be a Scrooge. I'm not going to be a Grinch. It's the time of the season. You want to wear an ugly sweater. You want to think it's cute and funny, and that's fine. Maybe it is. Show me a really funny one, and I'll laugh. I'll be open to it. I take my sweaters too seriously, though. I've got a closet full of them. They're great. I got great sweaters. So ugly Christmas sweater day is today, and I will not be participating. I don't have an ugly Christmas sweater. It's also National Maple Syrup Day. Freaking Canadian holiday. Who cares about that? All right, let's see what's happening. Let's do this is a fun one. We like to start each and every show with a little bit of a moment of joy, something that's going to make you happy, something that'll make you maybe chuckle, maybe make you think a little bit. Here you go. So here's the deal with this. Have you seen my kid has this. My kid has a Nirvana shirt, and my kid has, I want to say, a Def Leppard shirt, and I blame Target for this. I don't blame Target. Target has cool t-shirts, man. Target has leaned into their t-shirt thing, right? I mean, you want a funny t-shirt, you want a fun t-shirt, you go to Target. They got a whole wall filled with them. They all say crazy things. They're fun. And sometimes they're cool things too. Like cool. Well, for me, I'm a Gen Xer. They got all the concert t-shirts from, my era. And as James Parker so wonderfully pointed out the other day, I wear those ironic Target throwback rock concert shirts unironically because they're actually bands that I like. So, but a bunch of kids are running around now wearing, a Sex Pistols shirt. You'll see like a 12-year-old in front of the 7-Eleven with a skateboard wearing a Sex Pistols shirt. It's like, do you know who the Sex Pistols are? Or a Clash shirt. Now, I would wear a Clash shirt unironically because I love the Clash. And I would be like, yeah, this shirt is cool. And a 12-year-old would be like, that shirt's hysterical. It was, shut up, kid. You don't know. Go listen to Bieber, you fruit. They don't get it. So that whole thing is going on here. And a teacher at a school took a camera and actually confronted all of these children wearing their ironic shirts. And here it is. Check this out. I thought this was wonderful. This is
Exactly. Okay, do you know who's on your shirt?
Yeah, we'll watch from the beginning. All right, the little girl, she's wearing an Illegal.
Exactly. Okay, do you know who's on your shirt?
Yes.
Name one song.
Oh, no.
Exactly. Okay, do you know who's on your shirt? Can you name a song by him?
No.
Exactly. Do you know who's on your shirt?
Okay, that girl's parents are failing her if she doesn't know who Prince is, if she can't name one Prince song, because my son knew who Prince was at 8 years old. That's all I'm saying.
Can you name a song by him? Exactly. Okay, do you know who is on your shirt? Do you know a song by them?
Doesn't know
Exactly.
Metallica.
Okay, do you know who
Rolling
is on your shirt? No? Can you name a song by them?
No.
Exactly. Okay, so do you know who's on your shirt? No. Can you name a song by them?
No.
Exactly.
Well, but they're cool shirts, though. You know, I guess that's the point. Classic rock and roll marketing from bygone eras are still cool today. That's why they are classic. All right, so that's going to be our moment of joy for today. All right, let's get into some stuff, shall we? Oh no, we're not going to get into some stuff. I want to unveil a new segment here today. All right, this is I don't know. We'll do this every day, but I saw this. I wanted to show you people this. This is we're just gonna call this a what the f moment of the day. Okay, I want to show you this thing. I am horrified by this thing. This is a real thing. This is a real thing that if I came across this thing in the woods, I would assume it's an alien creature from another planet. Look at this thing. Do you see this thing? Look at this freak show. This is a real animal that you'd find here on Earth. I have never seen such a horrifying thing. What is that? Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's called a horsefield tarsier, and they're almost extinct. And why not? Because you see that, you kill it with a rake. That is not, that looks like something that was exiled from Fraggle Rock, doesn't it? I mean, it looks like just something from Lord of the Rings. That is not, look at that thing. Look at his belly going in and out. Ah! Oh my God. Again, you kill it with a rake. You find that thing in your shed. No. There's no, hi, little cutie, let's give it an apple. No, you kill this thing immediately. And that's probably why they're extinct. That looked like it, it looks like something that is diseased, like something that is in pain, that is begging to be put down. Well, look at the thing. Look at what. Yeah. Look at this. Yeah. Look, I love animals. And typically, you can show me any animal, and I'll be like, oh, it's cute. Actually, though, at the very end here, watch it at the end here. It's kind of cute. Like, it's kind of like here. We'll show it where it's kind of cute. Okay. No, what the fuck is going on with that thing? Look at that. Oh, okay, now the eyes are bad. If it closed its eyes, you'd be like, oh, look at that cat monkey, or whatever it is. Look at his fingers. Imagine those fingers touching you. No, kill it with a rake. I'm sorry, you gotta get rid of that thing. There's no reason for that thing to stay. Find that in your shed. You never go in the shed again. You cut a hole in the roof of the shed, and you drop in some pesticides, and you just fill that shed with something that's going to kill everything in it. And then you go back when the season changes, and hopefully, I don't know. Do you guys know what that is? No, Jeff, I did. I Google searched it because I didn't think it was a real animal. And I'm sorry, they're not adorable. They're horrible. Yes, Ross Rubio, they look like Chernobyl shit. Now, granted, Jeff, there are some flattering pictures. There are some pictures that make them a little less horrid, but no, stop it. Stop it, cute. What's the matter with you? You know what? If you think that's adorable, then I don't ever want to see a woman you've dated, Jeff Glenn, because I am sorry, but you do not. That is not adorable. That thing is awful. All right. So let's get into some of the things that are trending today. All right, we're going to start off with this. United Airlines is trending today. Why is United Airlines trending today? Well, why do airlines ever trend these days? Did you guys hear that? It was like that thing was inside of me trying to get out. I'm sorry. Still getting over the sick a little bit. I feel a little, I don't know. I think it's the weather. No, I'll be fine. Trust me, we'll make it through. United Airlines is trending today. It's people are talking about it, and why? Why, Pugs? Why is United Airlines trending? Well, I'll tell you. Because someone was an asshole on a plane again. That's why airlines trend. Somebody is an asshole, and we unveiled a new segment. Not a new segment. So I brought back an old segment called Douche of the Day. And let me show you this. This is a guy. Look, everybody's got to. We'll just watch this guy. So a guy. Here's my problem. This is not a political show. And this is so not a political show that I just want everybody to keep their freaking politics out of it. Just stop with the politics when you're in public. Stop it. You don't need to make, and that goes for people, wearing BLM shirts and the what is it? Good Luck Brandon. I don't even see. I'm so distanced from it. I don't even want to see it. Don't do that. Don't do it, and just stop it. Okay. You want to go in your chat rooms and you want to go with the people that are like-minded, and you want to bitch and moan about the left, or you want to bitch and moan about the crazy right. Whatever, that's fine. There are places that we have designated for that kind of hooliganism. But just stop bringing it into why, when I'm getting on a plane, does my flight to Akron need to be delayed because somebody decided that they want to have a viral moment by espousing their political. Nobody cares, man. That's why when you go in to vote, you pull a curtain. It's supposed to be secret. You're just supposed to do it in secret and let the chips fall where they may. But now people are becoming internet celebrities by being obnoxious about shit. So we got this guy. He got on an United Airlines flight. Sorry, wouldn't want to be smirching American, our local hometown airline. This guy gets on a United Airlines plane and he doesn't want to wear a mask. It's like, okay, well, why'd you buy the ticket? It says right there, man. They're a private company. They can cost freedom. Hey, shut up about your freedom. Just stop it. Okay. These are the rules to fly in an airplane. If you don't like it, do what Marjorie Taylor Greene did and run for Congress. Okay. And then try and change it from the inside. Or do what AOC did and try and change it from the inside. I hate that I have to use those two stooges as examples, but oh my God. All right. So this guy, and conveniently, somebody with him filmed the entire thing and had him in profile. What are the chances of that happening? So this is all staged. This person did this for the internet clout. And he got on a plane, and instead of using a mask, he was wearing a pair of women's panties, which in almost any other situation, I would applaud. I would say, now that's funny. That guy. But I'm so done with it. I'm so done with the people picking these public moments to sort of enhance their internet clout or their viral status. You're so boring. Okay. You're about as interesting as these people who say Joe Buck sucks, or Nickelback is the worst band of all time, or Die Hard's my favorite Christmas movie. Oh, you're so interesting. Those are such unique takes. I've never heard that before. Wow. You're a fantastic thinker. You truly are I almost said Leonardo DiCaprio. I meant Da Vinci. You truly are the Da Vinci of our time. So let's watch this guy. He wins the douche of the day for just stop it, man. Just stop it. Here he is. Do we already have it? Yeah, let's see. Hold on. Let's watch how this nonsense went down, shall we? Okay. Bum, 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 bum. I apologize. There we go. Oh, and he's a Florida man. Of course he's a Florida man. Here he is. There he is. So they get Get him off the plane. Why?
You can see Jenny's bright red underwear hanging on his face as he gets walked off the plane in the video taken by another passenger. He says he was trying to show why the rule doesn't make sense.
And he's wearing one of those Brandon shirts, too. Stop it! Just stop it. Nobody cares. You're not that important. You're just one of millions of people who live in this country who are just simply trying to get a workday done. We're just traveling for the holidays, man. Why are you delaying the flight? Why are you doing this? You bought the plane ticket. It says right there on the plane ticket what you got to do. And you know what? You can wear whatever the hell you want. But why? Why are you choosing to wear a shirt that is going to irritate people who just don't want to know you? They don't want to, I'm sorry they don't want to know you. I know you're buff. I know that you're a meathead and you work really hard on your body and you think that you should be famous, but stop it. Stop it, Florida man.
Sense to him.
There's nothing more absurd than having to wear a mask till I get to cruising altitude so that I...
No, what's more absurd is you making a choice to delay everybody from getting to where they're going. Air travel is one of the most grueling and horrid experiences in American daily life. That's absurd that you decided your calculus was you're going to make it even worse for the rest of us.
I can order Tito's by the double and snack on pretzels.
Oh, I hate this guy.
Illustrating that absurdity by wearing women's underwear on my face.
This is a Joe Rogan listener. This is a guy who is otherwise really stupid, but listens to a guy who's pretty smart. Joe Rogan is pretty smart. I don't know what his, he's working an angle for sure, but he's a smart guy. This is somebody who listens to all of that and then parrots it. You know, the older folks are doing that with Fox News or AON or whatever. The younger people are now doing this with Joe Rogan.
Sounds perfect.
Shortly after Jenny left, other passengers started to speak up.
Did he just get kicked off for wearing a mask?
What? I'm not at all associated with this guy. I am not at all a part of his internet chat group who did this all as a stunt.
This man then chose to leave the flight as well.
I'm out of here. Forget it.
I'm out of here. Forget it. I paid my money for this plane ticket, and it's really important that I get to where I need to be going, but this does it. I am going to completely change all of my plans and forfeit my airline ticket because I am standing in solidarity with Florida man. Staged. This is totally staged.
Jenny says
we got to be more critical about these things. We got to look at these things and don't go, wow, he actually got a bunch of people to walk off with him. No, he didn't. It was pre-planned.
Several passengers ended up getting off the plane to support him.
Thank you to them because they saw something, an injustice, something that didn't make sense, and they stood up.
Afterwards, Jenny received this email from United Airlines saying he's now banned from United flights until his case has been reviewed by the Passenger Incident Review Committee. Jenny says he still feels like he was in the right.
Your rights end where mine begin. And you don't get to tell me how I conduct myself.
Oh, is that some scatterbrain logic? Your rights end where mine begin. Okay, the purpose of wearing a mask is so that you don't infect other people. What about the rights to people not to breathe infected air? That's the whole purpose of the mask. The mask, stupid people are running around thinking that the mask is for them. It's not. It's for the rest of us. We all wear the mask so that whatever we have inside of us, we're not just spreading around. That's why when a surgeon opens up a body, he's wearing a mask. Not so that he doesn't get infected by whatever comes out of the body, but so that he doesn't contaminate the sterilized area. You see, that's how these masks are designed. Now, I understand that early on, they tried to, this is our entire media and our entire government is dishonest. Early on, they tried to spin it like it's for your protection because they thought that we'd give a shit about our own protection. We don't give a shit. If we're fine, we don't care. Unless something exactly affects us in the moment, we don't care. We don't care about school shootings until our kid is dead. then suddenly we care about it. That's human nature. That is a flaw in the system. That is how we're built. We are egocentric and we are narcissistic. We do not care about other people. The mask is to stop the spread, not to keep you from being safe. So when you say something absurd like never mind. That's your douche of the day, folks. I told you I was ginned up. And it's not, the other thing that bugs me about this guy isn't so much that, look, fine, you don't want to wear a mask, don't fly a plane, or find an airline. There's got to be an airline that's going to be like, no, there's not actually. Isn't it a federal regulation? So too bad. Take a bus. Well, no, I guess buses make you wear a mask too. And that's even worse because buses suck. Pugs, what are you, an elitist? No, I just don't want to ride a bus. I just don't want to ride in a bus for 12 hours. When a flight would take me an hour and a half. Thank you very much. And he's wearing the shirt, it's all about freedom. It's all about America. Do you know none of these people would have survived World War II, let alone the Depression that came before World War II. I mean, what would they have done in Prohibition? Which I actually believe was bullshit, but still, my freedom to drink. No, come on. Nobody did that. Do you know the limitations that were on American freedoms during World War II? And that's what it took to win World War II. And nobody was running around going, what about my freedom, America? You know why? Because there weren't multimillionaires in fancy suits on television every night telling you that your worst thoughts are justified. That's the work. That's the job. That's the con that the television news media has determined that, well, people will watch longer if we tell them that all of the worst things that they want to believe are actually justified. So let's do that. Let's just, instead of telling them what's best for them, because only elitists tell people what's best for them, let's just tell them that all of the things, the poorly informed, poorly calculated thoughts and beliefs that they have are right. And then they'll like us. And then when we gin them all up and get them excited, you know what they'll do? They'll sit through the commercial. And what are the commercials? Medications. Medications to calm your ass down. That's the work, man. That is the cycle. And if you're not seeing it, then you're just a part of it. Then you're just being duped. So stop it. Nobody, just go through the rest of your days like this, believing that nobody gives a shit what you think. Do your thing, get it done, go home to your family, love your family, be kind to your family. This is still the greatest country on the planet. Doesn't matter what AOC is doing over there in some borough of New York. Doesn't matter what Lorena, I always call her Lorena Bobbitt, the woman who cut off John Wayne Bobbitt's dick. Doesn't matter what Lorena Boebert is doing in Colorado. These people are a part of the work. They are work as in a work, as in a con. That's what I mean. That's your douche of the day. I told you I was ginned up. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm just getting a little bit, excited here. All right. What else do we have? Oh God. All right. So let's get into the stuff that's trending, huh? We're going to touch on this because this is trending number one across multiple platforms, and it's the Kim Potter story. Kim Potter is the police officer. She testified today that she never previously deployed her taser during her 26-year career. I'm reading that straight off the TV, CNN. So you know it's probably not true. Yeah, I hate CNN too. Although on the CNN tip, I have to tell you, one of the good ones, which is a phrase I think we should bring back when it comes to media. One of the good ones. She's one of the good ones. One of the good ones at CNN is down with the COVID. She's down with the Rona. I don't. Brianna Keeler, my girl Brianna. She's cool. She takes no shit from nobody. She's smart. She's articulate. She does this thing too, where because she's a pretty blonde girl, and not like, you know, like there are blonde girls in the media who are pretty, but they got mean face all the time. Like, I'm the angry wife. Where have you been? You know, they got that look going on all the time. That's sort of their whole motif. Brianna Keeler has I'm just the cheerleader who's going to let you down easy because I can't go to the dance with you because I'm already going to the dance with the football court. She's got that whole vibe, like but you're so sweet and we can just be friends. That's her vibe. And it works because she's a shark, because she lures people in interviews with that nonsense. And then she just nails them. She just nails them with, but what you just said there is kind of stupid. You want to explain? I mean, she's brilliant. I love Brianna Keeler. She's one of the good ones. She's one of the funny ones. If you have a moment, go to YouTube and just pull up some Brianna Keeler interviews. She's funny. She's funny in the way that she uses all of her skills, and she's got some skills. She's very good. She's got COVID, so I wish her well. I used to be friends with her on Twitter. We used to actually. DM'd and a couple of times, and I was like, I'm friends with someone that I actually like in the media. Look at that. And not because I worked with them somewhere. No, just somebody who randomly liked one of my tweets, and I said thank you for saying that, and then she was like, oh, that's okay, blah blah blah. But I think she thought I was gay, so she was nice to me. Like that's my theory, because a lot of creeper dudes would be like hitting on her, but I don't know how that happened. And then at some point, I must have tweeted something that she didn't like, and now she unfollowed me. She's not my friend anymore. But whatever. Hey, I still like her, and I wish you well, Brianna Keeler. I hope you get better. So Kim Potter is trending. Now, who is Kim Potter? She is the Minnesota police officer who is charged with 2 counts of manslaughter in the death of 20-year-old black kid, Dante Wright. This is I know it's hard to keep them all straight. There's so many of these. There's this one, and then there's that one. There's this one, and there's that one. This is the one where she thought she had her taser, and she thought she was firing a taser, but she was firing a gun. Oops. What's that about? That's kind of a bad mistake. It's terrible. But she's on trial now, and they're really going after her. They want to send her away for 30 years. Each of the counts have 15-year sentences. She's lost her job. And the thing that bothers me about this case is that she's not a murderer. She is not she's not Officer Van Dyke who shot and killed Laquan McDonald, who was just walking down the street, right, from his car, just put his hand out, killed him. That's a cop that just knew what he was doing. He had a gun. He pulled the trigger. He knew it was a gun. He's not Chauvin with the George Floyd thing, right, where he just mercilessly kneed on his neck for that period of time. And that was pretty flagrant. Those were pretty bad. This was obviously, I'm going to say, poorly trained, maybe a little skiddage in the mind. I don't know what was going on with her that day, officer, but she did not intend to kill this kid. This is a tragic accident, and we must make a distinction between accidents and intent. And in her case, it was an accident. But Pugs, that doesn't bring the kid back. No, it doesn't. And accidents happen all the time. And we don't charge or hold people responsible who are the reason for the accident to the same extent that we do somebody who premeditates a murder, who pulls out a gun and says, I'm tired of this punk, clink, clink, clink. Now he's dead. We make a distinction between these two. And unfortunately, the politics of the day is just trying to put this girl, I said last night, I don't know what she should get. She lost her job. She is, if you see the video, and I won't show the video because please, you can find it on YouTube if you want to see it. From the very moment it happened, she knew it was a mistake. She was emotionally devastated. She fell to the ground and curled up in the fetal position and started crying. She knew immediately the horrific mistake that she had just done. And I'm sorry, there is a little bit that I give you for remorse. We must, if we are going to fix the overall problem, and there is a very real problem here, if we're going to fix it, we have to be intellectually honest about who we hold accountable. And I just don't think Officer Kim Potter is in the same league with Van Dyke or Chauvin or who was the other guy? Eric. How terrible is it that there are so many now that I can't even keep them all straight. So she's testifying today. This is, I believe, the 8th day of testimony in this court case. It's streaming live on YouTube. If you want to see it, they allow cameras there. And also, the situation needs to be discussed, because there are people out there. There are just terrible, terrible people out there, whether you're talking about the Al Sharptons of the world, or Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, or even Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, who know the facts of the case, and yet they are deliberately twisting the facts to meet a larger political narrative that they want out there. And that is that all cops are murderers. And that is just simply not true. I've long said that, a lot of cops are dicks. That's, that comes with wearing the badge. Maybe because, the job that they do and the constant fear of something terrible happening, maybe that makes you hardened. Maybe that makes you a bit of a dick, whatever. That's fine. They're not all murderers. And again, I make a distinction here between a cop who's a dick and a cop who's a murderer. And the case of Daunte Wright is being positioned by Al Sharpton called him a prince of the community. And then that was echoed by Senator Amy Klobuchar. The community lost one of its young princes today. Oh, stop it. Oh, this kid, Al Sharpton also began the narrative, which is everywhere. It's rampant, that he was pulled over for having an air freshener, which apparently is illegal in Minnesota. You can't have an air freshener hanging from your rearview mirror. Or a ridiculously large one. I don't know exactly what the rules are of this. But that narrative is false. Anybody who watches the body cam video knows that that's not why he was pulled over. He was pulled over because he was driving a car with expired plates. That's the reason he was pulled over. I lived in a state for 30 years of my life where you had to get your plates updated every year. It's a sticker. You got a new sticker every year. Now here in Texas, they don't have that, so maybe you don't understand it. But every year you have to go to the Secretary of State's office, or you mail it in now, and you get a sticker in the mail, and it costs like $100, and you put it on your car, and that means your plates are good for another year. My car, which currently has Illinois plates on it, has a sticker that says, it's a red sticker that goes in the corner of the plate, and it says 1022, and that means that those plates are good until October of 22, which means if I'm driving around in Illinois, a cop won't pull me over because he sees I'm all paid up. Now, there are states that don't have that. And maybe that's why people don't understand how you could be pulled over for expired tags. But it's a very real thing. As a teenager, I had been pulled over a couple of times because I didn't have the $80 or $100 to pay for the new tags. And you get pulled over and you get a ticket for it. And it sucks. But that is a very real and legitimate reason for people to be pulled over. Now, the body cam shows that Officer Potter was training a young officer on this day. So they pull over this car because of the expired tags. You see that? They say it. Let's get them. Light them up. They pull him over. The guy walks up, the training officer, the new the trainee, I suppose, officer, walks up to Daunte Wright's car. And the first thing he says to him is, "You got an air freshener there." That's where the whole narrative of he got pulled over for an air freshener and now he's dead. No, because the very next thing he says, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" Tags. It's a tag issue. I was, and he said what I say. He said what everybody says. Yeah, I'm getting them. I don't have the money yet, and I'm going to get them. I'm going to get them really soon. Okay. Should have ended there. He said, fine, you're going to get a ticket. Now, whatever the cost of the new tags are, we're going to tack on $100 for this ticket because that's just what it costs. That's how we run this civilized society here in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, which is where this occurred, just outside of Minneapolis. And the cop goes, "Can I have a driver's license?" He didn't have a driver's license either. He's like, "I don't have a driver's license. I don't have, my plates are expired. I don't have a driver's license, but it's the air freshener. The air fresheners were..." No, it wasn't. And when people like Al Sharpton get up and start pushing that narrative on television, and when networks like MSNBC allow that to be put out there as fact, confusing people even more about the true nature of this situation, I mean, man, that's criminal. That is criminal. When you know that you are saying something over our airwaves, our public airwaves, that is just simply not true, patently false, that has got... We need a new law. We need a new law about lying on TV. But for a guy like Al Sharpton, who is not a journalist, he's a rabble rouser. He's a just Google search Tawana Brawley. He has been a troublemaker for a lot of years. I stopped watching MSNBC about, 15 years ago. I used to watch MSNBC. 15 years ago, I stopped watching. When they hired him to have a show, I went, nope, I'm out. This is no longer news. This is now just a guy who was going to have 1 hour a day to gin people up. It's the exact same reason that I don't watch Sean Hannity or Tucker Carlson. I don't watch shit that is solely designed to gin people up so they stay through the commercials and then buy their Humira or whatever pharmaceutical they're going to be pushing during the commercials to calm us down because we've just been ginned up. Al Sharpton. This prince of the community got pulled over for driving while black, and all he had was an air freshener and expired tags and no driver's license. So the training officer comes back to the car, and look, all of these cops, whenever you see them, they're fairly decent about it. All right, man, you don't have your driver's license. All right, what's your name? And he writes his name down. Totally believing the guy. Doesn't have to, but he's like, okay, so you say that's your name. And he goes back to the car, and they cross-reference the name. And to Dante Wright's credit, apparently he gave him the real name, even though he didn't have a driver's license and was driving a car with expired tags. And they go back and they run him. And it turns out that he has an active bench warrant because he didn't show up for court 2 days earlier on a weapons charge. Okay, so now you've got somebody with no tags, no driver's license, no insurance. I forgot that. No insurance, no tags, no driver's license, air freshener. If we're going to throw that in, fine. It is a law there, but it's not the reason that he was pulled over. And now he's got an active bench warrant from a judge because he didn't show up for court on a weapons charge. All right, so now he's got to go to jail. Now, that's what cops do. If you get pulled over and you got a warrant, they're going to put you in jail. They're out there to catch people who aren't supposed to be running around free. The judge would like to talk to you. I'm so glad we found you. And then, and this has been unmissable in this court case, but they pulled up his file and found a whole bunch of other stuff about him, like bad stuff. Remember, Al Sharpton and Amy Klobuchar called him a prince of the community. He had an order of protection against a woman that he beat up. He has an armed robbery charge from 2019 where he used a gun and robbed a woman of money. 2019. I don't know why he's not in jail for that. Again, let's address these laws. Let's find out why someone who used a gun to rob a woman of money on a street wasn't in jail in 2020 when this happened, 2018 or something like that. I don't know. So it turns out that this prince of the city, as the details begin to come into these cops, is not a good dude. He's not. Oh, and also he has a charge of running from the police in his past. So he's a runner. So, okay, we got to get him in cuffs. We got to make sure that we secure him, and we got to get him because the judge wants to talk to him on this weapons charge that he didn't show up for court for. So they pull him out of the car, and Dante Wright gets his arms behind his back, and then Dante Wright decides he's going to run. So he lunges back inside the car, starts to put the car in gear, like he's just going to drive away. Like, now what? Now we're going to have a car chase? What is going on? Does he think the cops are just going to go, oh, well, I guess he doesn't want to talk to us anymore? No, now it's going to turn into a car chase. Now it's going to be him driving recklessly like an idiot, prince of the city, prince of the community, according to Al Sharpton. So he's fighting with the cop, trying to get the car in gear, and Officer Potter at this point pulls out what she believed was her taser, and she yells to her partner, the officer in training. She says, I'm going to tase him. I'm going to tase him. Move away. And then, as can clearly be seen on the body cam footage, she yells, taser, 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 pop. Oh my God, I shot him. And she immediately crumbles to the ground. Now, what does Dante Wright do with a bullet in his side? I mean, again, tragic accident. puts the car in gear, speeds off down the road, runs head on into an oncoming car, causes an accident. Well, he wouldn't have caused the accident if he wasn't shot. Yeah, he would have. He was going to run. This was going to be a car chase. Just stop it with that bullshit. This dude, this prince of the community, did everything wrong. He wasn't pulled over for driving while black. He was pulled over because he had expired plates, and then they found out a whole bunch of other stuff about him, which meant put him in cuffs. He's got to go. But Amy Klobuchar is out there, a senator from Minnesota, saying that this is a case of driving while black. Stop it. You know better. These people know better. I used to kind of like her. I used to call her America's cool older sister. She seemed like the kind of chick that, like, when she was like your buddy's older sister and she was in college when you were still in high school and she would buy you beer for the party, but then she'd also be like hanging out at the party, making sure that like nobody broke anything. And she would give you the evil eye every once in a while. Like, if this keeps up, I'm going to tell mom. But she was kind of the cool older sister. She's not. She is just as disingenuous and just as much a grifter as all these other people. If she is in league with people like Al Sharpton and the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota claiming that this kid was a prince of the community, I don't know what to say about her. She's part of the problem, big part of the problem. But this should not be a political issue. This should be an issue of this guy wasn't a good guy. He was 20 years old. It doesn't mean he didn't have a chance to turn it around. It doesn't mean that he didn't have a chance to do something with his life. Plenty of people were dirtbags at 20, and they go on to have very good lives. Some even offer wonderful things to their community. Some people turn it around, and this kid could have turned it around, but he can't now because a tragic mistake occurred. Wasn't a murder. A prince of the community wasn't murdered by a violent anti-black racist cop because she wanted to kill somebody. He wasn't pulled over for driving while black. He was pulled over for a very legitimate reason that all of us have been pulled over in states that have these laws. So they want to throw her in jail for 30 years. And and what happens if she's acquitted? Because I'm telling you, it's an all-white jury. Is it? Actually, I don't know. I think I heard that somewhere. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But if she is acquitted, what's going to happen now? Are there going to be a bunch of people who've been ginned up by Al Sharpton who think that he was pulled over for driving while black and his great crime was that he had an air freshener hanging from the window? Is this now going to cause the city of Brooklyn Center to burn to the ground because this happened? If she's acquitted? Or a hung jury or anything. These are insanely dangerous times. And it all goes back to what I was saying about the media. Multi-millionaires in fancy suits who have decided that telling you what you want to hear is more important than actually giving you the facts of situations. And that's exactly what Al Sharpton has been doing on MSNBC and exactly what Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson do on the other side of the spectrum. So, man, it's every man for himself out there. You just gotta, look, here's another thing. Be self-aware. Like, there's a lot of shit that I think that I know somewhere is probably wrong, but I want to believe it because it suits my nature better. And then I find out and I look into it and I'm like, I am an idiot because I'm self-aware, because I get that I am not always right. And just because I want something to be true, look, the world is full of disappointments. A lot of times I'm disappointed that shit that I wanted to be true isn't true. But our media is failing us. Al Sharpton called him a prince of the community. All right, so that's what's going on in the Kim Potter trial. That is a big one. I didn't mean to go off on such a rant on that one. Also, Chris Noth is trending again. We covered this last night. Chris Noth, Mr. Big from Sex in the City. He apparently he's being accused that he raped a couple of girls. He raped a girl in New York in 2015, and he raped another girl, allegedly, in Los Angeles in 2004. He doesn't deny having sexual intercourse with either of these girls. He says they wanted it. No, he says it was, what is that called? All right, they wanted it. Sorry, my words are failing me. But it looks bad for him. It looks really bad for Mr. Big from Sex and the City. And the details, both of these girls, immediately after it happened, went and told multiple people. One of them even went to Cedars-Sinai Hospital and got a rape kit and talked to a cop. This was in 2004. Both of them say, it was before the Me Too, and he was a big star, and we were afraid to get involved, and blah, blah, blah. But now, because the HBO Max has the new spin-off series, the sequel series to Sex and the City, they say that it's all been drummed up again, and so now they're going after him. This was first reported by The Hollywood Reporter, who had exclusive interviews with both of the women. One of the things that does bother me about this, though, in the details, and I've read all the details in The Hollywood Reporter. If you joined us last night on Pillow Talk, you heard the gory details. I'll spare them today. I don't know how comfortable I am with these women's names being protected. I mean, I really have to think about this. Chris Noth's name wasn't protected. There wasn't a story about a known Hollywood celebrity who's being accused. No, it was Chris Noth from, Sex and the City, from Law and Order. It's this guy. But for some reason, the accusers' names, even first names, they were given fake first names in the article to protect their anonymity. I mean, I don't know. That doesn't set 100% right with me. I don't. And look, I actually believe these women. In this particular case, I believe them. Their stories seem to check out, and I just don't know why they won't come out and be public about it. Maybe they will at some point. They'll have to be if there's a police investigation either in New York or Los Angeles, and I assume that's coming because the details in this story about Sex and the City's Chris Noth, Mr. Big, raping these two women. It seems like there should absolutely be a police investigation coming. I don't know what the statute of limitations are. I don't know if this is maybe more of a civil thing, but that's coming. And as they say in the media, ... developing. Okay. Joe Buck is being slammed today. And this is another one of those things. I talked earlier about, people who, their hot takes. Nickelback is the worst band of all time. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I'll fight you on that. These original thinkers. The other one that could be put into that is Joe Buck sucks. Oh, do tell, Mr. Fascinating. I've never heard that before. I've never heard anyone just declare that Joe Buck is terrible. First of all, I don't get that. I think Joe Buck is fine. I like Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. I think that they're good together. Chris Collinsworth is a different story. You want to talk about Chris Collinsworth, then I'll be there with you. But it's just such an unoriginal thought that people are programmed to say, Joe Buck sucks. Hey, did you hear about Joe Buck? Joe Buck, he's terrible. Really? Why is he terrible? I don't know. Why is he terrible? Seriously, tell me why he's terrible. Because, well, guess what? You dummies, you anti-Joe Buck dummies. You actually have something today because Joe Buck is trending because he did do something that was pretty sketchy. Last night, let me make sure. Parham, I'm sorry, I don't know the kid's name. Let's see if we can find it here. Donald Parham Jr., tight end for the San Diego. Oh, God, look at me. Pugs, you're so old. Los Angeles Chargers, I mean to say. Scary injury. Real scary injury. I don't know if you saw it in the game last night between the Chiefs and the Chargers, but man, it's one of those, we're throwing all of these flags for targeting and all of these vicious hits. And last night with Donald Parham's injury, we were reminded that football is just a dangerous sport. You don't have to get hit. This guy came across the end zone and fell and wasn't lit up by anybody. It wasn't one of these, 50 greatest hits in NFL history. It wasn't that kind of situation. He fell. He fell in a funny way, and he hit his head. He clanged his head off the turf. And it was horrifying because you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when Dale Earnhardt died. If you remember watching that when he crashed into the wall, it didn't look like that bad of a crash. We have seen people go end over end in a ball of flame and be pulled from the car, and they give the thumbs up and they're good. And then Dale Earnhardt, he just hit the wall funny and he died. And it seemed unfathomable that of all the ways that we've seen drivers get thrown around and all of the horrible accidents that we've seen in race car driving, people have died, but the ones that have survived, to then learn that Dale Earnhardt died from that. Well, that's what this incident last night reminded me of, because get up, dude. Dude, get up. Why is that dude not getting up? What? Did anybody hit him? Did I miss it? And you go back and nobody hit. Well, somebody clipped him a little and he tripped and then you see his helmet, bounce off the turf and you're like, oh, geez, that's what it was. He just fell in that way and he hit in that way. And he was immediately, I don't even know if he was out cold, but his arms stiffened up like this. And then, of course, because TV News is classy, the Fox News cameraman ran right up to him and stuck the camera right in his face. Hey, man, you just dropped that pass. Let's look at the stupid expression on your face. Oh, he's hurt. The guy was shaking. His entire body went stiff and he was convulsing. And it was obvious in the moment that this guy had suffered a traumatic brain injury. And that's exactly what happened to Donald Parham last night. It was horrifying. And, the game gets delayed for an extended period of time when they bring out the backboard and, he's not really moving anything. And, all the players are on their knees praying and, all the best wishes are going out and trying to generate as much good energy for this kid as possible. And it ain't looking good. And they put him on the stretcher and they wheel him out on the stretcher and his arms are still stuck up in the air, shaking, convulsing like this. It was horrifying. It was what, and I forgive me. I don't know what his status is today. I know that as of late last night, it was still, he was going through some things, with these injuries, especially when they happen at the time of the game, that this one happened yesterday or early in the game. You like to hear later in the third or the fourth quarter. We've just received words from the Los Angeles Chargers team doctor that Donald Parham is going to be fine. He's moving his fingers and his toes. He just took it. That's what you hope for. Never heard that. Never heard it. In fact, we heard we heard that, it was serious and that they were taking it serious and, who knows, but the visuals were disturbing as hell, man. It was not good. So Joe Buck, well, he did this. Let's listen. This is what Joe Buck is getting dragged for. And, I don't think it's criminal. And it's being called the lowest moment in sports broadcasting history. I don't know about all that. I think that he might like to be able to take some things back. Maybe his comment about the weather, but here we go. Let's watch this. All right. See, is it sharing? It is. Okay. So this is after it occurred, and this is Joe talking about it. Here we go.
Any injury, especially that type. But when you see his arm shaking and his hand shaking on his way out, that's the part that's most unnerving. I will just add this. It is very cold, at least by Los Angeles standards, down on the field. And hopefully that was more the issue than anything else. Ever do we speculate?
All right, so there you go. That's why Joe Buck is being dragged, because he suggested, maybe overly optimistically, that his hands were shaking because he was cold. And that was in Los Angeles. It was like in the 60s, I think, something. It wasn't so cold that you would be freezing. It wasn't Green Bay. It wasn't the frozen tundra in a late December game. It was Southern California on a relatively balmy evening. So Joe Buck is apparently the worst person in the universe for saying that. It's regrettable. And I haven't heard Joe Buck say anything about it today. But, I mean, for the people that absolutely hate Joe Buck, there you go. You got it. You got a reason to hate Joe Buck today. TikTok is trending today. Why is TikTok trending? Because apparently there's a new TikTok challenge. And it's I challenge you to commit a school shooting. You know about this? Are you following this? Today is a day when a whole bunch of schools across the country are on high alert. Community police departments are surrounding schools because apparently TikTok has a... Let me see if I can pull this up. Let's see if we find the story here. The videos are set. There's all of these warnings about coming school shootings, and this is happening on TikTok. This is school districts increase security after alleged TikTok video, but officials say the threats are not credible. So a bunch of people are putting up these TikTok videos saying that I challenge a school shooter to do it on this day at this school. Whatever. But here's the problem. That doesn't really matter. First of all, here's what I propose. Are you ready? Are you with me on this? Here's what I propose. No social media until you're 18. Oh, Pugs, you're just a mean old man. No, man. Social media has proven itself to be a cesspool of depraved humanity. I do not believe that we should be exposing kids to that kind of nonsense. Oh, but Pugs, 13-year-olds can be on Facebook. Yeah, they shouldn't be. They really shouldn't be. Look, I'm a divorced parent, so I don't have the end-all be-all say over my kid. I don't want my kid on Facebook. I don't want my kid on Twitter. I don't want my kid on Instagram. I know that there are plenty of kids who are out there doing nice, cute kid stuff on there. But there's way too much of a negative influence from everybody else. I wouldn't want my kids going to a place hanging out with a bunch of crazy old people, right? Well, that's what social media is. It's a bunch of crazy old people intermingling with 13-year-old, 14-year-old, 15-year-old kids. The worst possible element of our otherwise civilized society are all hanging out on social media. So that's what I propose. If I was running for office, if I was doing something like that, that would be one of my things. Look, I would ban kids from TikTok. I want to ban kids, not just TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You can't be. Look, your 18th birthday, you sign up for the draft, and you can get yourself a TikTok page. Yeah, I don't think there's a... We didn't have it, and look how perfect we turned out. Look, I know. I'm just trying to do something that's going to stay. We've got people, Tom Beller, a school teacher, when TikTok challenge was destroy school property, our restrooms were destroyed. They listened to TikTok more than any adult. Tom also says, Tom is my buddy from Chicago. He's a school teacher and football coach. We only have about 1/3 of our students in our school today. Parents are taking this seriously. Okay. And that's the whole point, that these threats have been issued on TikTok about schools across America today. And the experts are saying these are not credible. And the problem with this is that's the exact same thing they said in Oxford, Michigan. There were warnings about what was going to happen in Oxford, Michigan. A bunch of parents kept their kids out of school, and those kids are safe. And I will tell you this, my son is sick. My son has been homesick all week from school. And thank God, scared to death for him that he's sick, but he's not in school today. So dad can rest just a little bit easier, because I don't care what the so-called experts say any longer. Well, this is not a credible threat. Shut up. I saw that letter that you sent home to parents in Oxford. Or was it Oxford Township? Yeah, Oxford. What was the high school? Was the high school Oxford High School? I think it was. Oakland County, Oxford Township High School. Okay, that's what it was. On the week before the shooting, the school administration sent home, or not sent home a letter. They don't do that anymore, but they sent out like a digital post text to everybody saying that essentially the kids were to blame for this. We've looked into it. There is nothing to this. So excuse me, as a parent, when an expert tells me to just Ignore the TikTok people saying that they're going to shoot up American schools on Friday the 17th. Fuck you. Okay, you have no credibility anymore. Stop it. How about just have the police surround every high school in America, every grade school, every middle school? Oh, I know that's going to be real inconvenient for you adults who are probably thinking it's probably not going to happen here. But what if it does? You know, I was thinking about this. I was like, I'm one of these like dudes that I get time on my hand. I mean, look at me. I do this show. I do a show from noon to 2, and then I do another one. I don't have a job. I'm basically a loser. I want to do something to give back. And I was thinking, you know, we played a moment of joy a couple of weeks ago about some parents, some dads in Louisiana that created a dads group, and all they do is hang out at the school. You know, they hang out in the hallways because there were a bunch of fights in the school. And the school is saying, oh my God, did this work? Having a bunch of dads just hanging out in the hallways in between classes has really kept these kids in line because, you know, obviously it's not going to be every kid's dad, but there's enough of them and enough dads that know the kids. Oh, that's a friend of my kids. I know that one too, that it's actually working. And I'm like, man, I would love to do that. And I wonder if there is like some sort of, schools are not going to pay for added security. We don't want local heroes. I got me a gun. I'm going to get me a school shooter. We don't want that fucking guy showing up either because that guy's a moron and a tragedy just waiting to happen. But how about just a bunch of dads? How about just, I'll do it. I'll go. I know where my kid goes to school. I can hang out there between 8:30 and I don't know, we can do this show at noon. I can hang out there between 8:30 and 11. Me and a couple other dads, we'll have lawn chairs. We'll sit on the sidewalk as the kids come in. We'll be like, don't be an asshole today. You know, it'll be like that stuff. Because honestly, if they're not going to pay for the schools to have these metal detectors, which I ultimately don't think really work in these situations, because when a school shooter wants to take over a school, they're just going to run through the metal detector firing at everybody. You know, that's not going to stop. Oh, I was going to shoot up the school, but they got a metal detector, so I guess I can't do that. That is not how a crazy person thinks. So stop with the metal detectors. There just needs to be more involvement. And they're not going to expend the money to have all of these police officers taken off of writing tickets to, you know, hang out at schools all day. I'm good. They have public resource. Is that what's called? Public resource officer, school resource, whatever they have. My kid's school does. Every time I take them through the drive-through lane, I see the cop car sitting there, and that's who's that, man? You know who that is? Yeah, that's Officer so and so. He's pretty nice. I'm like, okay, good, that's nice, but that's one guy. You know, maybe the school shooter's gonna see where he is and then go in the other door. He's gonna go in the gym door by the cafeteria when that dude's on the other side of the school. I don't know. We got to do something, and I really do think it comes down to parents in the communities actually stopping. You know, maybe giving up a little free time. Easy for you to say, Pugs, that's all you got is free time. I know. I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to start a little group. Maybe we start a Facebook group, huh? Where even I don't have to go to my kid's school. I can go to your school. We would get 5 dads every day just hanging out at the school. I don't know how it's gonna. Look, I'm grasping at straws here, people. But when the experts tell me, just ignore the TikTok warnings. Just, you know, these kids, they're overly dramatic. That's exactly what the administration in Oxford said. So God bless. Let's hope everything is okay. So far, so good today. We've only got a couple of hours left here in the school day. So let's just hope that it stays that way. Oh, Emily says, I know I'm late to the show today. My only excuse is that I'm on my deathbed from a bad cold and a sinus issues. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope you get better. Emily's one of our regulars. Adam, kids listen more to TikTok than they do you. Maybe you've got a messaging problem then. Same old shit is about every generation. Oh, you're wrong, Adam. that apathy that you just shared is not going to fix anything. It's just not, man. I know you're like, whatever. Yeah, you just stop it, man. Stop. This is serious shit. And I know you're a great father, and I know that you love your kid. And, anybody that's trying to come up with examples on how to save your kid and my kid doesn't deserve to be derided like that or marginalized as that is. It's like, what? No, just come on. I love you, buddy, but this is a very serious topic. And again, a couple hours left in the school day. Let's hope the authorities in this case were right. What do you mean you're not wrong? Adam says, yes, kids listen more to TikTok than they do you. Maybe you've got a messaging problem then. Same old shit is about every generation. Yeah, I just... First of all, my kid doesn't listen to TikTok more than me. I'm a very engaged parent. I'm very, and my kid's smart. But I think you and I, Adam, can agree that there are a lot of dumb fuck dads out there with a bunch of dumb fuck kids that they're about to release on the world. They're the problem. I don't think you're like that. I see the way you talk about your kid. I know maybe it's different. I'm a boy. I've said this. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to start a one-on-one thing because ultimately I think that we're both on the same side here. I just think that there are methods to shouting down people who are just simply trying to come up with a solution. You'd be a terrible brainstormer. Do you understand the method? Like, brainstorming is the whole idea. The whole yes and, like, when you get together with a group of people and you're trying to be creative to solve a problem, you can't have someone in the room that's going to go, that's stupid, next. Like, that doesn't help creativity. What you should say is, yeah, that's a good idea. And how about we do this? It's the old improv trick of yes and. Your friend said it. I was scoffing at the notion. Oh, okay. we could have hashed all this out, Adam, in the after show segment that we do. What did my friend say? What did Tom say? What did Tom say? Well, I'm pretty sure I know how Tom feels about this. Tom's one of the good ones, and not just because he's my friend, because he's. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, okay, Adam, I'm sorry. I see what you're saying. Yeah, Tom was saying that kids are listening more to TikTok than they are to their adult parents. Which is a shame. I don't believe that's the case in my situation. A couple of weeks ago, after the Oxford shooting happened, I had a very uncomfortable conversation with my kid. I picked him up for the weekend, and we were driving back down here to the fabulous 1%er compound. And, we usually do this thing where we play music for each other. We go back and forth. I'm going to play you a song. Okay, you play me a song. We do that. And I stopped in the middle of it and I go, dude, I want to talk to you about what I asked him flat out. I said, so what are your active shooter drills like? And he was like, Dad, I don't want to talk about that. I'm like, you will talk to me about it. It turned into that whole thing. I don't need your apathy right now. This is serious. I do nothing but worry about you. You're going to school with a bunch of moronic yahoos. Got into that whole thing. And then we had a really nice conversation about it. And sometimes it does take about 5 minutes of yelling at each other before we get down to it. But and maybe, oh, Pugs, you're such a great parent. No, I'm not. I just try. And I don't have the luxury of being in my kid's life every single day like some of you do. And, maybe you could counter what I'm saying because you have a different experience. And, well, Pug, it's not that easy. They just don't want to talk to you at breakfast. I'm like, I force my kid to talk to me. I mean, I can be real irritating. Anybody who listens to this or watches this show, I can be pretty pestering. I can, and I am super proud to say I have an amazing relationship with my son. Now he's 12 years old. Oh, wait till he's 16. Yeah, that is the fear. But at least I can say that, at 12, I'm the adult that he can tell anything to. And I'm so proud of that because I don't, what are you talking about? You fly off the handle all the time. Not with him, I don't. And there are a lot of times when I have to okay. I mean, we have conversations about guns. We have conversations about sex. We have conversations about the sex talk thing. It's like, well, I don't know. I never had the sex talk. And you know how many parents that I know that have never had the sex talk with their kid? I've been talking about sex with my kids since 8, 9 years old. You know, not, you want to see something on Pornhub? I mean, not like that, but like casual, non-demonized conversations that I, I make them seem like they came up organically, like I remember one day we were driving home from the restaurant where I was working, and he literally said, "Hey, let me ask you something." And he had a question about what comes out of the man's, penis. And I think I handled it well. I was like, "Ooh, good question. You want to talk about it?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I go, "Okay, so here's what that is. That's the stuff that makes babies. Now, here's how it happened." And that's how we just organically got into the conversation. But I wasn't weirded out about it. I didn't make him feel weird for asking me. I didn't go, "Nope, too young to have this conversation." The child is not too young to have, in my opinion, my estimation. And what do I know? Again, I'm just a part-time father. But the child is not too young to have the conversation if he's not too young to ask the question. And that's, I think, just how you have to approach it. There is no age. There isn't some kids. No, you don't talk to them about that stuff until 13. Well, what if they ask you at 10? If they're ready to know the answer, if they're ready to have the question, then you need to talk to them. Not every kid is on the same maturity level, sort of. I don't know. Well, there's Pugs talking about what a good daddy is. No, man, I know that I have a lot of failings as a father, but the one thing that I think that I am very good at is as I think that I am the grown-up that he trusts and can tell absolutely anything to, because he tells me everything, and I'm very proud of that. All right, let's see. What else is... Oh, Eric Clapton is trending. Okay, this is a fun one. Oh, Eric Clapton. My God. Eric Clapton is trending because he just won a big lawsuit against some little old German lady who was selling a bootleg copy of some concert he did in 1987 on eBay for $11. Well, the German courts, Eric Clapton set his big $300 million rock star net worth lawyers in there, and they just dropped the hammer on this lady who was selling an $11 bootleg concert recording in Germany. Now, Eric Clapton didn't take her house. He didn't have her wages garnished or anything like that, but he won the case. She has to stop doing it. And then he demanded that she have to pay his high-priced attorneys. So she's like selling this thing for $11, and now this woman's got to pay like, $6,000 in lawyer fees to some rock star who's worth $300 million because he's feeling aggrieved that his intellectual property has been stolen from him. Which I got to tell you, coming from Eric Clapton, a guy whose entire brand is being a white blues man who ripped off everything from black blues musicians, to be now screaming about intellectual property is ridiculous. Are you kidding me? Eric Clapton, you didn't invent the blues, my man. You, like, 80% of your catalog are covers from other people, and then 20% is like garbage. The other 20% is like Tears in Heaven trash. So Eric Clapton, by the way, Eric Clapton, well-known racist. So it's kind of crazy that he's a guy who has made all of this money off of, blues musicians and being a blues player and all that stuff. And then he's a big old racist. Oh, what do you mean he's a big old racist? Well, here, I'll read you exactly what Eric Clapton said in concert once. I think we talked about this on the Pillow Talk show. Are you ready to hear? And why? I mean, imagine a rock star. Imagine Justin Bieber, okay, getting up on stage today and saying this, all right? Imagine Justin Bieber saying this today. Do we have any foreigners in the audience tonight? If so, please put up your hands. So where are you? Well, wherever you all are, I think you should all just leave. Not just the hall, leave our country. I don't want you here. Or imagine Justin Bieber doing this. I don't want you here in the room or in my country. Listen to me, man. I think we should send them all back. Stop Britain from becoming a black colony. Get the foreigners out. Get the wogs out. Get the coons out. Keep Britain white. The black wogs and coons and Arabs and fucking Jamaicans don't belong here, man. We don't want them here. Eric Clapton, live in concert, 1976. This guy, will you know my name if I see you in heaven? Now, your kid's going to ignore you, Eric. Your kid doesn't want to know you. You have turned in. No, you haven't turned into an asshole. You've always been an asshole. And for some reason, nobody ever called you out on it before. Those are Eric Clapton's words from 1976. Oh, Pugs, that's just got to be an internet rumor. No, look it up. The entire movement, Rock Against Racism, which is still around today, was founded after he said this. It was founded because Eric Clapton said this. And in 1976, nobody gave a shit. Yeah, whatever. I don't care. So, that's Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton, the man who has amassed a $300 million fortune, basically stealing the intellectual property of Black blues musicians who never received a dime, is now suing a lady in Germany for selling a bootleg copy of one of his recordings in 1987, and he's claiming theft of intellectual property. Just doesn't get any crazier. Fuck you, Eric Clapton. You're trash. I still like Layla, though. I'm telling you, man, that is a good song. And you know me, it's like, hey, Pugs, I thought you said you separate the art from the artist. Oh, I try. I'm going to still like Layla. You know what I'm going to do? You know why I like Layla? Layla had been a song that I had heard for probably 30 years. And then Martin Scorsese used it in a beautifully artistic way in the movie Goodfellas. And that's when I went, oh, I like this song now. So I am going to say that I enjoy the Eric Clapton song Layla because of the way Martin Scorsese used it in the film Goodfellas. And fuck you, Eric Clapton. You're a piece of shit. Cheryl Hines is trending. Cheryl Hines, everybody loves Cheryl Hines. Curb Your Enthusiasm. She's Larry's wife. Isn't she fun? Blah, blah, blah. Why is Cheryl Hines trending today, Pugs? Well, I'll tell you, because she's married to that Robert F. Kennedy dude, right? And it's like every girl of her generation wanted to marry a Kennedy. That's like the thing. Oh my God, especially if you were a Catholic girl. Oh my God, I'm going to grow up. We didn't have princes in America, but we had Kennedys. I'm going to grow up and I'm going to marry me a Kennedy. Well, you got a Kennedy, but you got the garbage Kennedy. You got Robert F. Kennedy, the crazy anti-vaxxer, MAGA, leaning hard into the all vaccines are bad. They make you autistic. Well, that's actually been proven to be a lie, and stop it. But he sells a lot of books on this, and he gets paid huge amounts of money to speak at these crazy QAnon things. And so Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the son of Bobby Kennedy, the nephew of John F. Kennedy, is now made that his brand. And Cheryl Hines, Little Miss Hollywood, if you ever watched her on Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I know that wasn't a documentary, but I like to imagine that those were all improv. So most of it was improv. So a lot of, her behaviors and stuff were probably close to who she really is. How is she married to this lunatic, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? How is this a thing? So why is she trending? Well, because she is the wife of America's foremost anti-vaxxer, and not just coronavirus, just all vaccines. All vaccines are bad. Oh, just let the bodies be riddled with them. All medicines, or whatever. He's a crazy person. So she's trending because her and Robert F. Kennedy are having a Christmas party. And guess what? On the invitation of Cheryl Hines and Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s Christmas party, right there on the invitation, it says that in order to attend the party, you have to be vaccinated. Do you remember what I told you about the work, about the con? Okay. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. obviously knows he can't be elected because he's the dumb one, but he somehow stumbled into this area where he can make money by talking about anti-vax. So that's now his brand. So he's leaning into it. However, if you want to come to his Christmas party, you got to be vaxxed. He's vaxxed. She's vaxxed. They're all that. This is like the Fox News people tell you the vaxxes are bad. The vaxxes are bad. Meanwhile, Fox News has had a vaccine mandate for a year now. They're all vaxxed. Tucker Carlson is vaxxed. Sean Hannity is vaxxed. Laura Ingraham is vaxxed. They are all vaxxed over at Fox News. You can't get into the building and work in the building unless you're vaxxed. That was a Fox News edict, not a mandate from the government. Rupert Murdoch, it was him, put it in place. You cannot work at Fox News and not be. They're all vaxxed at Fox News. They are. They will never tell you that because it's a part of the work. Remember, we're talking about millionaire showbiz types, not journalists, wearing fancy suits, cashing massive paychecks, who have decided that they can make you sit through commercials that they can charge a whole bunch of money for. They can make you sit through commercials if they just tell you what you want to believe and justify your worst thoughts. And that's exactly what we're seeing here with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and why Cheryl Hines is trending. So they've been publicly outed for this because someone going to this party said, yeah, you know what? I'm friends with Cheryl. Her husband's a bit of a douche-tard. But hey, Los Angeles Times, here's a copy of the invitation. Don't you think it's weird that America's leading anti-vaxxer is requiring that anyone that shows up to his family's Christmas party must be vaxxed? And you know what? You know what he says? He's blaming his wife. Well, I wasn't aware of that. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. blames holiday party's vaccine or testing request on wife Cheryl Hines. Attendees at a holiday party at prominent anti-vaxxer Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s home were reportedly told that they should either be tested for COVID-19 or fully vaccinated. That's according to a report from Politico on Friday, which said that given Kennedy is one of the most well-known anti-vaxxers in the United States, it, quote, came as a surprise when an invitation to a holiday party at his home in California last week urged attendees to be tested or vaccinated. So, you know, for the people that are going to show up and eat his food and use his toilet and, you know, hug him and, you know, pet his dog and all that stuff, these people need to be vaxxed. But when he's cashing $100,000 paychecks to stand in front of a bunch of QAnon rubes, you know, vaxxers are bad. He doesn't want any of you people in his house because you'd have to be vaxxed or at least get a test. He's working you. You're buying his books. He is making a whole lot of money off of telling you what you want to believe. It's a con, it's a work, it's a kayfabe, whatever you want to call it. It is wrestling. And that's why Cheryl Hines is trending today. I told you I was ginned up today, people. Miss America, how about this? Miss America contest was yesterday. Man, I remember when that was a big deal. That was a huge deal. Miss America. You know, I always say that if you don't think that people change, if you don't think the culture really changed, and I know that we've changed in a lot of ways. I mean, Jim Crow laws are gone now, so they say. I always like to say that, you know, if you could teleport back to 1950 and do a man on the street interview, you could ask any random person on the street 3 questions and they'd be able to tell you the answer to all of them. And those questions are, who's the heavyweight champion of the world? They could tell you in 1950. What horse won the Kentucky Derby? They could tell you in 1950. And what's the name of Miss America? They could tell you in 1950. You try doing that now. I mean, now it would be, who's the UFC heavyweight champion? And maybe they'd know that. They would say, forget about horse racing. They wouldn't be able to tell you anything about that. No, who's the best sports book to lay your wages with? They could tell you that. And then Miss America, forget about it. Oh, but if you asked them, who's the #1 porn star trending on Pornhub? They could tell you that probably today. But think about that. In the 1950s, those were 3 of the most famous brands, to use a modern term, in America. The heavyweight champion of the world, everybody knew. The Kentucky Derby winning horse, everybody knew. and Miss America, everybody knew. Today, I mean, I can't even believe we still have Miss America contests. I mean, what is the point? It's like, what are we doing here? Doesn't that seem like, I don't know, stupid, like old timey? But we do have a new Miss America, and look, believe it or not, maybe now we can end it. Maybe now, because of what happened last night, we can stop with the Miss America. Does anybody who's watching? Who the hell is what? When I was like 8 years old, I used to watch Miss America, or maybe more like 12 years old. I would watch Miss America and Miss Universe and all of that. Because, girls in a bikini. And again, as I said at the start of the show today, we only had 3 hours or 3 channels. There was no Pornhub. Sometimes we'd find a Playboy in a box in a garage, but, we didn't really have many opportunities to be titillated. And, Miss America, the bikini contest here, covering the swimsuits or whatever. It was always upsetting because they didn't wear bikinis. They wore one pieces. And it was pretty girls in one pieces, and that's fine. But it really was for everybody. No, it's not. It's a scholarship program. These women are not being judged on their beauty. Oh, shut up. Everybody watching. Back in 1979, if you were watching the Miss America pageant, you were arguing with the people on the couch over who's the hottest. No, Miss Tennessee is way hotter than Miss Alabama. Nobody was saying, no, Miss Tennessee looks way smarter than Miss Alabama. Nobody was saying that. So stop it. That's not what it's about. It's a beauty pageant. That's what they're called. Beauty pageants. They're not called brilliance pageants. They're not. This isn't like a trivia contest where you try to figure out who knows the most. This isn't like high school high Q. It's who's the prettiest. Who's the best Stepford wife candidate? That's really what this is. Congratulations, Miss Alaska. They can end it now. Alaska has never had a Miss America, and now we got one. And so good for her. She's a 20-year-old Emma Broyles from Alaska. And as with every hot girl in America, she's a student at Arizona State. She doesn't, apparently there's not good colleges there in Alaska, so she got the hell out of there, but she's still representing herself as someone from Alaska. This is like when the Olympics come around and your favorite American-born baseball player who has a mom from Puerto Rico ends up playing for or the Dominican or whatever, ends up playing for another country. You're like, I thought that dude was from Tampa. Well, I thought he was born in Tampa. Yeah, but his mom was born in the Dominican, so he's now the shortstop for the Dominican Olympic team. Oh, okay, because he wasn't good enough to be the shortstop for the U.S. Olympic team or whatever it is. So that's kind of what happened with her, Emma. She got the hell out of Alaska, and when it came time to enter the beauty pageant, she went, I bet you I could win Miss Alaska because there's only like me and 13 other girls up there. And look at her. She won. She ran the table. So good for her. Good for Emma Broyles. How long, though, has this happened yet? I don't know. I talk about this all the time. I'm not a very good dirty old man. And I mean, I know dudes my age who are like just dirty old men. It's like, oh my God, you're such a dirty old man. I'm not a good dirty old man, so I don't know the answer to this question. But have we had a Miss America or a Miss Universe go into porn yet? Because that seems like that would be a big one. That seems like, that might get me to go over and check out Pornhub or whatever it is. I don't know if that's happened. Well, she'd lose her title. Let's say you do it the year after. You do the title for a year. You open car dealerships. You go and you do the morning shows in Dubuque. Wake up Dubuque. Today's guest. We've got Miss America coming by. That kind of shit. That's pretty much all they do. And then go do porn. Probably make a lot of money. Do one porn. You probably make more money than you made the entire year that you were Miss America. Well, they don't make Pugs. It's a scholarship. Yeah, right. Okay. They all end up marrying pro athletes. I mean, what scholarships? Come on. They all either do that or they end up being weather girls. Yeah. Heather Hayes. This is mean because Heather Hayes, former local news icon here in Dallas, who I just love. I've partied with Heather Hayes. She is fun. She was like a fun chick. She was a beauty queen. She was like Miss Hawaii or something in Miss America pageant. She was like a runner-up, something like that. And then she came here. I remember when I first came to Dallas and I put on the news and I saw Heather Hayes doing the news. I was like, whoa. I thought we had gorgeous women doing the news in Chicago. This is next level. She was really pretty. And she turned out to be like a really cool, as James Parker from the Pillow Talk show would say, she turned out to be a real dame. She was a cool chick. We would go out and drink with. And it was a period of time before she got married where she was single and she was fun and she had a bunch of really fun friends and we used to all kind of no nothing ever. I don't mean to look at me, please. I was not in Heather Hayes' league, but it was we would just I made her laugh, so I got me and my posse got to run with her posse. And it was something like that. But she was a cool chick, man. I really liked her a lot. I may or may not have a friend that had a little thing with her, but she was single. Everybody was single. Wasn't a big deal. May or may not. I do. I have a friend. I'm not going to say who, but I do. I have a friend. It's a good one, pal, if you're out there watching. She was cool though. But then she was a Miss America, and she was actually really smart. She was like bright, and she was articulate, and she knew things. And so I don't mean to deride the whole Miss America pageant. I just don't understand why it's still a thing. Okay, let's see what else. Monkeys in India is a story that's trending around here. We don't need to go into all of the nonsense about this, but if you know me and you've been listening to my show for years and years, you know that I won't go to India because they got a monkey problem there. I've been saying this for like 30 years. Well, the big problem now in India, first of all, do you guys realize that monkeys just run the streets like street gangs in parts of India? And they just don't do anything about it. Like, people will be out on the street, and then you'll see a gang of monkeys come running down the street, and people will be like, okay, get in the store, lock the doors. And then the monkeys run by. They can't leave fruit out because the monkeys just steal all the food. So guess what monkeys are doing now? Check this out. Monkeys are throwing dogs off of roofs. The monkeys in India have declared war on dogs. Up to 250 dogs recently have been thrown from high rooftops by monkeys who gang up on a stray dog. Not even like, oh, we're all up here on the roof. What's the dog doing on the roof? The stray dog isn't going up on the roof. Stray dog is on the street. They are catching the dogs, monkeys. They are catching the dogs on the street, and they are dragging them up to the rooftops like gangs of monkeys. And then just going, wee, and throwing the dogs to their deaths down below. That's a thing that's happening in India. So let me write that one down. That is another reason why I never want to go to India. Monkeys killing dogs. Oh, you don't believe me? Oh, Pugs, you got to be crazy. There's pictures. There are pictures. Well, they have pictures of anything. Well, I know, but I choose to believe this because I've been covering the monkey uprising in India for about 25 years now. Some of you know it. I can't find it. All right. Doesn't matter. We're running out of time, and there are other things that I want to get to. Blazing Saddles is trending today because people are, on Twitter at least, they're talking about what is the best comedy film of all time, and enough people are saying Blazing Saddles that, it's trending. It's trending in the top 10. So there you go. Blazing Saddles. Hot take? I don't get it. I don't really get it. I've seen it. It's funny. It's good. Not really a big Mel Brooks fan. I'm not. I love Mel Brooks. See, I think Mel Brooks is a really cool, really kind of funny and brilliant old guy. And his resume is amazing, man. And he has worked with everybody. I mean, not just the movies that he made. He had like a 30-year career before he started making movies where he was a television writer, where he was just writing for some of the great comics of the. So I got a lot of respect, and I hold him in a very high regard. I just don't think his movies are that. I think, the History of the World, loved it. Spaceballs, loved it. Young Frankenstein, Producers, Blazing Saddles, More of a Caddyshack guy. Got to be honest with you. If you're gonna tell me, because I had to consider this, I'm like, really? Okay, so what is the funniest movie of all time? I'm not going with Blazing Saddles. I certainly can't do that. I got to be true to myself. Caddyshack is what I came. If I really thought about it, I might come up with something different. But I would say Caddyshack is my funniest. It's a placeholder, to be sure. slide it right in there. But certainly I think Caddyshack is funnier than Blazing Saddles, so it'll work for that. Winter Break is also trending on Twitter, not on Google. We're now down to the things that are just trending on Twitter. Winter Break is trending. People are discussing what they'll be doing over winter break. I'm going to be doing nothing. You know what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here with my dog niece. The people, the masters of the compound here, are jetting off to some fantastic ski vacation in Vail or Aspen or where the hell it is that they're going. And I'm going to be here. I will have the run of the house, the guest house and the big house, which means solo movie night. And they're leaving my dog niece with me. And yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm looking forward to it. My son is going out of town. My son has a very big family event on his mother's side of the family that I would be a complete a-hole if I was like, no, according to our custody, I'm supposed to get him. You can't do that. You gotta be fluid. You got to understand that sometimes you got to work together, and it's perfectly fine. I recognize that this event that he is going to be going to with her family is something they need to be at. It's something important. So look, hey guys, that's why divorce sucks, because sometimes you got to make a couple of sacrifices, and you got to be willing to do it because you're the idiot who decided to break up the family. So, it's fine. It's and the relationship that I have with his mom is so wonderful at this point. It's not a deal. We're going to make it work. It's going to be fine. But I get to spend the whole winter break all by myself with my dog niece. And by the way, hey, Indian monkeys, you try that shit with my dog. Our dog, the compound's dog, ain't gonna work. We got ourselves an 80-pound solid muscle Louisiana Catahoula leopard dog. You ain't dragging her anywhere. She's gonna screw you up. Our dog is such a badass. It really is. Do you know how badass our dog is? And I had never heard of this breed before. When we got her, we just thought she was like a pit bull, like some kind of like a pit bull Rottweiler kind of mix kind of a deal. And then we found out what she was, and I looked into this breed, Catahoula leopard dog. They're Louisiana bred dogs. They're bred from wild wolves. The Indians used to use them they're like defensive dogs. They're like they're not. She's awesome. And then the Cajuns down there, they adapted them, and they have I've talked about this dog all the time. They have this extra claw on their paw, and their feet are webbed. Like most dogs have a little bit of webbing, but their feet are totally webbed because they're swamp dogs. They like run through the swamps and they chase alligators and stuff like that. They protect hunting parties. Not necessarily good at like catching things, but when the hunters go out, and there's maybe a wolf or a bear or something, they set out these Catahoulas, and the Catahoulas like they chase away all the things so that the humans can keep doing their shit. And they got like an extra claw. And you know why they got a claw? Because they're tree climbers. Because they chase like things up trees. They're able to climb trees. Oh, dude, look at them. Go find them. Catahoula leopard dogs. They are bad. So, hey, Indian monkeys, you bring that shit around our CeeLo. It ain't going to work. CeeLo will eat these monkeys 2 at a time. So it's just going to be me and her over winter break, just hanging out. And luckily she loves me because she doesn't like anybody else. She does not. I can talk about my dog niece forever. This is, of course, Emil's dog daughter. Emil is the dog daddy, and I'm the dog uncle. And just like any uncle, I'm very proud. I love her so much. And my son, she loves my son. That's the other thing. They are super protective of the kids. Don't come to our fence line when the kids are here. Oh no, that dog doesn't want to hear from you. All that dog wants to do is bite you. So it's going to be me. It's going to be me, and it's going to be her, and we're going to be hanging out the house over Christmas. I don't mean to present her that way, because if we let you into the house and you're a friend of the family and all that stuff, she's totally cool and she's friendly and she's a cuddle bug and all she wants you to do is rub her belly and all that kind of stuff. But if we don't let you in, and if you're just the landscaper who shows up unannounced, get the fuck out of the yard, dude. That dog is coming. and she's got a doggy door, and she can be upstairs in the big house, and she can hear you in the yard, and then you hear her on the floors, and then like she makes that noise where she rips through the dog door. Probably here in the backyard right now. She's fighting squirrels. The squirrels in the trees are the bane of her existence. All right, let's see. What else? How do we want to end this? That's winter break. That's what I'm doing for winter break. And that's why it's trending. People are talking about winter break. Hey, we'll go a little bit longer today. Why not? I got nothing going on today. What do you guys got going on today? You got anything? Want to go a little bit longer? Because I wanted to talk about... They are nutria hunter pugs. Well, I don't know what that means. All right, now Emily's going to have me looking up nutria hunters. I don't know what that means. Nutria hunters. Is that even a word? Hunting nutria in Louisiana. Oh, it's a thing. Okay, thank you. Hunting nutria in the Louisiana bayou. Millions of marsh-destroying nutria roam Louisiana bayous. Our mission is to take them out and, yes, eat them. What are they? Okay. See, yeah, giant rats. I would call that like a muskrat. That's like a big giant muskrat. Yeah. CeeLo would definitely take that thing down. She would bite its head off in one swoop. Yeah. I was reading a whole bunch of things, dude. They'll fight anything. They go after alligators. They go after wolves. All of these things. They're just, they're very protective of their human. Anybody that rubs their ears and tickles their belly and gives them food, they are incredibly loyal and incredibly not so great at being trained, though. I've realized that this one, she's not so great at being trained. But honestly, I had never heard of this breed of dog before in my life, and I am sold. I am totally sold on this breed. Yeah, why not do this? Just so you. All right, let me see. Oh, these should be such a baby. Look at these babies. Let me find a good one. Let me find a good picture of one. You know what? Here's what my son says about CeeLo. Says she's so ugly, she is now beautiful. It's like she started out as ugly, right? And it was like ugly, not so ugly, not too bad, kind of cute, sort of okay, and then she's all the way back to beautiful again because that's how she is. This is what they look like. Booyah! Look at her! Oh, look at her! That's a good one. And look at their eyes. Their eyes are like super cool. Their eyes are like the Indians used to call them ghost dogs because their eyes were like glass. Well, they're called glass eyes, but they're all muscle. It's just like all 100% muscle, and they got big old fangs. They're just badass dogs. They're my new favorite dog. My new favorite dog in the world. Catahoula leopard dog. The AKC, American Kennel Club, they don't recognize them as actual breeds. They're breed adjacents because they're new and they're, but someday they'll be a real breed. All right, a couple of things that I wanted to talk about today because it is the weekend. And as you know, if you've been listening to the show, I was sick for much of the past week. I got my vax shot and did it knock me on my ass. Can you hear her? Can you guys hear her? She's going nuts. I'm the only one here at the compound at the moment, so I'm wondering if maybe somebody's in the yard. Give me a second here. We're going a little bit late. I need to go check on her and make sure that nobody's in the yard because that sounds like the get the F out of my yard bark. Hey! Get in here. What are you doing? Okay, settle down. Go lay down. Go, lay down. Lay down. Good girl. Okay, just sit tight. No, don't. Okay, here. You can't lay there. You can't. There you go. Okay, very good. Be calm. Here. Take a cookie. Ah, you jerk! Sorry. Get the cookie. Cookie, right there. Go. And there's another one right here. Right there. Ugh. Stop it! All right, you gotta go. Come on. Go. Get in here. Stay. Holy cow. It's a freaking tornado. I apologize for that. There were some people, some electrical workers back in the alley behind the house. She was out on my back deck here at the guest house, and she was just raining down insults on them. And she came in here. She's like, didn't I do a good job? Didn't I do a good job? And she was all excited. And so now she's stuck in the... Bill Martin, what's the best way to donate? Well, right there at the bottom of the screen. Venmo, Pugs Moran, PayPal, also Pugs Moran. And you can, if you have the Cash App, you can just find me at Pugscast on the Cash App. Thank you. I appreciate you bringing that up. We do this show for your tips and for your kindnesses. And like I was saying last night, it's going to be a bad month because I recognize that it's Christmas and you guys have more important things to be spending your money on. But if you can't help the show out, this would be a good month to do it. So, is everything okay here? It sounds like everything got a little bit loud. Okay. All right. So here's what I wanted to talk about here at the end of the show. The dog is, by the way, now locked in the bedroom. And I recognize that the camera is a little bit screwy. Maybe that'll work. A little bit better. Okay. That dog came in here and just wreaked havoc over everything. So I do apologize. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about that I watched while I was sick, because we're heading into the weekend here, and there's a lot of stuff. People are like, hey, Pugs, you watch a lot of TV. You're pretty. If I'm good at anything, I'm good at watching TV. So I watched some things that I found absolutely fascinating. Now, when I was sick, so I had a 102 fever most of the time, so this might be all delirium talking, but Netflix. Okay, so, I watched Tiger King, and I was like, It was entertaining. It was crazy. It was the start of the pandemic. We were all locked in. And these were just a bunch of crazy people, and, come on, that was fun, right? But then everybody started going nuts. Like, it's the greatest thing that's ever been produced. Like, no, it's not. It's stupid trash TV. It was fun. It was fun. That's all it was. And then they came out with the second Tiger King, and everybody in America went, yeah, nah, we're good. I know that we really overplayed our hand with the first one, and you guys had every right to think that we would want a second one. But yeah, nah. So, I guess the second Tiger King on Netflix, season 2, if you will, did terribly. It was like, meh. But they also made a whole bunch of these satellite shows, these mini series based on Tiger King characters. And one of my favorite Tiger King character was Doc Antle. Doc Antle. You remember? He was the dude who ran the wildlife farm or zoo, the private zoo in Virginia or something like that Tiger King went to visit, and he came back from visiting. He's like, we got to do everything like Doc Antle. And he was totally in love with Doc Antle. And Doc Antle was like, he's the greatest at doing this ever. So now there's a 3-episode special on Netflix called Tiger King, the Doc Antle story. And Doc Antle is a piece of shit. Doc Antle is. If you thought that the characters in the original, that hung out at Joe exotic at his little zoo, if you thought that they were crazy and garbage people, you got to meet Doc Antle. This is, if it's on, it's only 3 hours long. It's 3 episodes. It is crazy. Doc Antle is like, shut up in there. I hear ya. Doc Antle is crazy. All right. Also, HBO Max. If you have HBO Max, there is a documentary. Bill Simmons, I don't know. He's a podcaster and a sports guy, and he's really great. He's smart, and he's funny, and he's really dry. I'm a big fan of his. But he's got a big deal with HBO where he's producing these documentaries, and he's doing a series called Music Box on HBO, where he's doing a documentary film about different subjects. And he's got a new one out. Actually, the new one is Juice World. That's the one that was just put out, and I'm going to probably watch that this weekend. But the one that was put out last week was Mr. Saturday Night. Doc Antle is proof any schlub can have 3 wives. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Doc Antle's like, got the ladies. He's got the tigers. Mr. Saturday Night on HBO Max, if you have it. It is a music, if you love music documentaries, and I love music documentaries, this is the story of Robert Stigwood. Who's Robert Stigwood, Pugs? Well, do you remember in the 70s and in the 80s, there was a record label called RSO, and it was like one of the biggest record labels going. Well, that was Robert Stigwood Organization. That's what RSO was. Robert Stigwood was the manager of The Who. He was the manager of the Bee Gees. He also managed John Travolta. For a brief period of time, he managed the Beatles after Brian Epstein died. It's just a fascinating guy. And this guy for like 3 years, first of all, super, super rich already, but for like 3 years in the late 70s, this guy was just a money machine. He saw John Travolta on TV on Welcome Back, Kotter, and he said, "Let's approach that guy. Let's sign him. I want to have his career. I think I want a piece of his career." So he signs John Travolta in like 1977 to a 3-picture deal. There were no pictures. He had no movies. He wasn't a movie maker. He was a record company guy, but he wanted to become a movie guy. So he signs John Travolta, and then he reads this article in the New Yorker magazine called New Tribal Rights of Saturday Night, which was the article that they based the entire movie Saturday Night Fever on. And he already had the Bee Gees, and the Bee Gees were like struggling. Nobody liked the Bee Gees anymore. So he went, "Hey, you guys need to start doing disco. I'm going to turn this into a movie, and John Travolta, you're going to star in it." And in the same year, concurrently in production, this dude had Grease and Saturday Night Fever running. It's just really fascinating stuff. It's a really interesting story about how this guy just took over the entertainment business for a couple of years there in the late 70s. That's HBO Max. It's called Mr. Saturday Night. And then also on HBO Max is another documentary series. If you like the true crime stuff, like Making a Murder. Remember Making a Murder on Netflix? How that all became a thing, or The Jinx on HBO, that all became a thing. There's a new one, and it's produced by the Wahlbergs, because the Wahlbergs produce everything now. But it's produced by the Wahlbergs, and it's about a murder. It's 3 parts, 1 hour each. It's called Murder at Starved Rock. Now, here's why this is interesting to me, because Starved Rock is a park just outside the Chicago area. It's about 100 miles outside of Chicago. And where I lived, we used to go to Starved Rock. Our senior trip, we went to Starved Rock. We used to go out to Starved Rock to party. There were reasons to go to Starved Rock. The last time I'd been to Starved Rock was like back in the 90s with my first wife. She was doing something out there with flowers or something, and so we were out there. But I hadn't really thought about Starved Rock in a very long time. It's called Starved Rock because it's a place where the 2 Indian tribes got into a war, and there's a rock in the middle of the river, and it's like a cliff. There's cliffs and valleys. It's really a cool area, part of Central Illinois Valley, the River Valley, right along the Illinois River. And one Indian tribe chased another Indian tribe on top of this rock and then just surrounded them for like a year and they starved them out. They just all died up there one by one. And now it's a national park where they have Frisbee championships and stuff like that. But in the 1960s, there was this brutal murder that took place in there. And this dude got sentenced to like 100 years in prison or whatever. And this Murder at Starved Rock is a 3-part documentary about how the guy that's in jail for this probably didn't do it. And it's all the corruption of the police department at the time and how this guy might have been framed. And then new details come out where you're like, well, wait a second. Was he framed? Because he spent an hour telling me he was framed. And it's like, was he framed? He was framed. But was he? And it's really good. If you like those kinds of things, that's on HBO as well, HBO Max as well. Murder at Starved Rock. So here are my 3 suggestions. Murder at Starved Rock on HBO Max. Mr. Saturday Night on HBO Max, and Tiger King, the Doc Antle story on Netflix. There you go. There you go. Now you got something to watch. I was also looking at, do you know what I watched last night? We got to get out of here because we're going way too late today. But do you know what I watched last night? After I hate watched myself, I was watching ESPN Plus, and I was just scrolling through it, seeing if there was anything I wanted to watch. And I found the Canadian Football League Super Bowl from last weekend. I had no idea. I didn't know who won, so it wasn't like spoiled to me, so I may as well have been watching it live. But it was the Grey Cup between the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And oh my, I have never seen Canadian football before. But here, let me describe Canadian football for you, okay? If an alien from another planet came down here and watched an NFL football game and then went back to his home planet and tried to form a football league on his planet, but he forgot a lot of stuff about the NFL and then just made up a whole bunch of other stuff, that's what Canadian football would look like. God, what? I'm watching this thing. It's the craziest damn thing. So there's 12 guys on each side. There's like an extra player on like each side. They got like 1 point for if you kick. First of all, the kicking sucked. There's no hang time. Here are some of the punts. Okay, there was a 9-yard punt, a 15-yard punt. I think the biggest punt of the night was like 30 yards. Crazy. The field is like super wide. Like it's not like our football field. The NFL field is like sort of what is that called? A rectangle kind of thing. Theirs is more like almost a square. Like it's really from sideline to sideline. It's like a little bit further. And then their end zones are like 30 yards deep. So you could be at the 15-yard line. Right. And in the NFL, that's where you use your tight ends, right? You just throw like a little dart pass or something because, our end zones are pretty compact and you can't go out of bounds. Their end zones are like 30 yards deep. So you could be on like the 15-yard line and you could throw a bomb for a touchdown all the way into the back of the end. Crazy. And then the goalposts are like, it was insane. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. I will watch more Canadian football now because I totally enjoyed it. They were all terrible. Nobody was good. I mean, it's all. And I was laughing to myself because the announcers, this is their league. God love them up there. It's their league, but their announcers are like, hey, he's one of the best to ever play the game, eh? Don't you know? He's going straight into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. And I'm like watching this guy and I'm going, oh yeah. And his life goal is to be a practice squad member of the Detroit Lions. He's like the best you've ever seen up here. But someday, maybe he could make the practice squad of the worst team in the NFL. So, I mean, it's just, I think the ball is fatter too. I think it's like a fatter, it's almost like volleyball. It's crazy. The passing was awful. It was just, but everybody was awful. Like, so, it's like when you watch a really competitive Pee Wee football game, everybody's terrible. So it's competitive. So, it was fun. I loved it. James Parker is live right now until 5 p.m. Central on USA Radio, filling in for John David Wells. Oh, thanks, Jeff Glenn. That explains why everybody's ditching me this late in the show. Like, I need that from you, Jeff Glenn, siphoning off my very valuable listeners. Fine. You people want to go listen to James Parker? That's fine. By the way, you can help support the show with a tip, blah, blah, blah. Please help. Christmas time. It's, going to really help us out here. The dream, honey, so did I. There's a good chance I might do something tonight. I feel bad that I missed a bunch of shows because I was sick. So, be looking for that. If you subscribe to the show, anything like that, I appreciate it. I was lost in the world, enough to make you cry. 2, 3, 4. I was down and out, without a doubt, looking for my home. Almost 2.5 hours. Almost 2.5 hours of just me blabbing. You people are heroes. You people are real heroes putting up with this garbage. I was down and out, without a doubt, the only home I've known. I always had a nagging fear I would not be free. All the work I had. We're gonna do a backstage thing. I love you guys, but I can't. That dog is going nuts in the next room. She's probably tearing the mattress apart because she's angry that she thought she did a good thing by screaming at the guys who were in the alley working. And then how did she get rewarded? I gave her a cookie. I yelled at her for knocking off the camera, and then I locked her up in the bedroom. So she's probably doing some really, really bad dog stuff. So no backstage today, but maybe a show tonight. To do, and freedom came to me. I was down and out, without a doubt, looking for my home. I was down and out, without a doubt, the only home I've known. I am not the hurting kind, I wish you all the best. I have come so very far to finally pass the test. I was down and out, without a doubt, looking for my home. I was down and out, without a doubt, the only home I've known. I would like to settle down, just live off the land. Serenity is what I found. I have to make a stand. Everyone has a dream, honey, so did I. I was lost in the world, enough to make you cry. I was down and out, without a doubt, looking for my home. I was down and out, without a doubt, the only home I've known. I was down and out, without a doubt, looking for my home. I was down and out, without a doubt, the only home I've known.